Intro Algebra Lesson 5-2A. Now that we've spent some time dealing with slopes, dealing with y-intercepts, and slope-intercept form, we can actually take and write equations based on some of that information. So to write an equation, anytime you're given a slope at any point, this is one method you could use. Step number one, you could substitute all the known values and that would leave you with b that you could then solve for. In other words, you just wouldn't know the y-intercept. Before, you were given the slope and the y-intercept and you would substitute them in for m and b and you'd write your equations. Now we're going to have a coordinate and we're going to have the slope. We just won't have the y-intercept. And then once you're done solving for the y-intercept, then you can go back and do what you did before, which is to write y equals mx plus b. So you substitute the values in. So let's take a look at how this might work. Step number one, write an equation that passes through the point -3, 0 and has this slope. Now in the past, we've used y equals mx plus b, and you were given this value, and you were given this value, and you would substitute them in, and that was your equation. Today, a little different, you're still given the slope, which means you're still going to know this value right here. But what you don't know is the y-intercept. You've got to figure out what that is. Fortunately, they give us this coordinate. And that coordinate, like all other coordinates, is made up of two pieces of information. It's made up of the x and the y. That's not the y-intercept, that is the y value. So you can substitute 1, 2, 3 pieces of information for 1, 2, 3 spaces, which leaves the b for you to solve. So the 1/3, that's going to go in for m. Your x value of -3 is going to go here, and your y value of 0 is going to go right there. Once you substitute those three values in, you'll have 0 equals 1/3 times -3 plus b. So we plugged the y value from the coordinate, we plugged the slope in for slope, and we plugged the x value for the x. Now you can actually multiply 1/3 times -3, because you can write that as a 1, or put a 1 underneath it. 1/3 of -3 would leave -1 plus b. Now just to get b alone, you add 1 to both sides, and you now know that your b value is 1. You can't stop here, you have to actually write your equation. Remember, y equals mx plus b. Now you know the b, and you know the slope. Now it's just like what we practiced last time. We would say y equals 1/3 x plus 1. And that is our final answer. Oops, plus 1. So again, x and y are the coordinate that's given to you. So you can plug it in for x and y. You're given a slope, so you substitute that value in. That allows you to solve for the unknown y-intercept. Once you have the y-intercept, you can write your equation with the given slope from before. Let's try another one. Same concept. This is your slope, so that's m, and this is a coordinate x and y. We know we're going to use the form y equals mx plus b. So we substitute in all the known information. My y value is 6. My slope is -1/2. My x value is 4. What I don't know is the b value, but we can solve for it. So now we multiply -1/2 times 4, makes -2 plus b. Add 2 to both sides, and you have a b value of 8. So now it comes down to writing the equation. I need my slope and the b value to write my equation. Y equals -1/2 x plus 8. And that's it. So you can use the x and y that are given to you in the slope to substitute in for 3 values so you can concentrate your efforts on solving b. Alright, one more. Write an equation for the line that's shown. Now, you might think to yourself this is a different problem, but it's really not. If you'll notice right here, this is giving you the slope. So according to this, the slope is rise over run, -3 over 4. And I can use that slope and either one of these coordinates. It doesn't matter which coordinate, but don't use them both, just use one. We know we're going to use the form y equals mx plus b. So if I look at this coordinate at -8, 8, I have an x and a y. I can substitute 8 in for y, -3/4 for slope. I've got -8 for x, which I can write as a fraction by putting it over 1, plus b. 4 goes into itself once, and then -8, -2 times. So now I have 8 equals -3 times -2 is +6 plus b. I can then add -6 to both sides, which means 2 is equal to b. Now let's look. This means y-intercept. And if you look right there, certainly, that is in fact where it is crossing the y-axis at 2. So now we have the slope, and we have our y-intercept. Now we can write our equation. Y equals -3/4 x plus 2. That equation represents that line. No different than the other problem. I took the given slope, I took a given point, and I solved for my y-intercept. I could have also looked at the graph and I could tell where it crossed. Sometimes it won't cross at a nice perfect spot like that. Maybe it crosses just a little above, so by solving I'll know exactly what it is, but this should back up what I see on the graph. If I had gotten -2, because I messed up on my signs, if I had gotten a -2, then I would be looking here going, well, I don't know, it doesn't appear like the graph crosses at -2. I must have done something wrong. I go back and reevaluate, oh, I messed up on my signs, it should be +2. That matches up with the graph. Whichever answer I get here should match the graph. So it's a good way of telling whether you're doing the work correctly or not. This problem looks like it's different, but it's really no different than this one or this one. Same idea. You must substitute the x and the y in and the slope, solve for b. Once you solve for b, you have the b value and the slope, you can write your equation.